Okay, so I think we are live and here and ready for our webinar tonight. We've got 30 minutes for a really fabulous and big topic. So as ever, I'm looking forward to your questions, because when you ask your questions around this topic, it really helps direct where we can go. I hope you've got some water so that you can be well hydrated and take this information in, and maybe even a cup of tea. Excellent. Let me see. We've got many of you joining, which is wonderful. So I am just going to, brilliant. Wait a couple of seconds, but then we're just going to get straight on it. I see some of you with your great comments. Hi Trina, and wonderful Jen is there to help as well, and Molly. Wonderful. Lovely. I've got chamomile tea tonight. All right, so let's start, because yes, it is a good time to start. I know more and more of you are joining, and that's fabulous. Welcome, welcome. So the title of our time together tonight is Live in Joy and Ease. Yeah, really choose you in this time of the summer months. If you happen to be in Australia or down under right now and you're in the middle of winter, it's slightly different themes around it, but still that great big main theme of choosing you is really important. Right now, for those of us who are in the middle of summer, there is a specific meridian that is most active in the body system, and it's active for the entire month, yeah, all through August, and it's the energy of spleen and the spleen organ system. Now, that is a really, really special part of our entire energy system, not least because it holds the parasympathetic responses in the body. So the big nurturing energy that is so essential for that ability to create space in your energy field, create that feeling of ease, because space is so important when it comes to actually thinking about your energy fields. I think it's a very logical understanding, yeah? If everything's kind of either locked down in defense, or if it's collapsed inwards because it's been trying to hold itself for so long that actually it's collapsed in, and often we see that in chronic illness, or just those times when you feel so totally overwhelmed. So either small because it's in defense or it's collapsed, or the times when it's simply there's real tightness in your system. And it may be in those times overall you've got some flex and flow in your energy, but there's these places that kind of are in a little bit of lockdown. So lots of different ways that your body system responds to things in your life. But the most important is that there is this ability for space, because once you've got space in your energy field, it feels like you have space in your life, because you do, yeah? Literally, you're able to breathe easier, you're able to access your joy more. And you know this really, really well. Think of those times when you have been under pressure. Yeah, lots of pressure that's coming in various ways in your daily life, whether that's work or social relationships, family, whatever it is that's going on for you. And when you're in that place of pressure, then accessing your joy isn't as natural to you. Accessing the ease, those times when you think, oh, it doesn't matter. None of that is as easy for you, because things are kind of moving in lockdown, or in some kind of way the flow of your energy is compromised. So that's where it's really important to activate this beautiful big nurturer in your energy system. Let's have a drink. Because that nurturer means that your ability to create space and to metabolize the things that you're finding tricky to metabolize, that all comes into play much, much more. The other thing I want to say about this time in the summer is that that ability to metabolize includes all of that beautiful solar energy that hopefully you're being able to suck into your body system to recharge your energy, so that actually you hold that inner light, you hold that inner fire even through the deepest days of winter. So lots of things going on with this energy that's actually kind of governing or taking its place as foremost meridian in your system right now. Let me see if there's anything that is, well, what else do I want to say about it? I want to show you a few exercises straight up, because there are many ways that you can simply affect your big nurturing energy inside. There's everything you do in your life can be to either nurture your energy or to maintain it, yeah, so you're not actively nurturing it but you're not depleting it anyway, or it can get depleted, so things like stress, extreme emotions, all of those pressures and uncertainties, they can begin to actually deplete your energy system, but only if your natural abundance, your natural vitality of energy inside you isn't able to meet it. Yeah, so it's this, I'll be teaching next week in one of my monthly online classes all about the pressure in the body and how that pressure can either be resilient, or how there are places in your body that kind of blow like pressure valves, and once they've blown, it's really difficult for you to get your equilibrium back. But that spleen meridian is really key for keeping your equilibrium, really key for keeping that feeling of space in your energy system. So I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite ways to really enhance the space and connect it with the joy. The first one is supremely easy, and it's based on the understandings that your fingers hold a myriad of different energy points and systems. So it's very simple. You would literally just encase your thumb in the fingers and palm of your other hand. So maybe even as I continue to talk, you can keep your hand there. It immediately begins to nurture the amazing energy in your body that really relates to the earth energy in your own system, but also elementally. So when you're able to just hold your thumb gently, there's no real pressure, it's just kind of encasing it, nurturing it, holding it, cuddling it. That's the kind of energy to take to your thumb. So when you're able to do that, it begins to drop your grounding systems back down in the body. So if there's been any stress, any anxiety, any fear, any panic, then generally your energy system lifts up, and it stops you from being deeply grounded. This action of holding the thumb just begins to drop everything back down. It's such a beautiful one. Often even as I'm writing or thinking, I'll just find myself holding my thumb, even just automatically, yeah? Maybe you do too. And it's just a way of anchoring your system back down, so that from that place, that big nurturing energy can begin to unfold from really deep in the belly. That's where it comes from. That earth energy is held deep in the belly system. So it unfolds and begins to sort of almost push your energy fields back out as it nurtures their resiliency. And that's both thumbs you can do. I think it's much more rare for me to encase the thumb of my right hand. It's more natural for me to do it that, but both ways or either ways is great for you. It's just, even just take a moment, close your eyes. Let's take a few good breaths here. And even think about embracing ease. Sometimes it can be a really far away concept, that life can be easy, that smiling can be easy, that really listening to other people and understanding other people can be easy. It doesn't have to be an effort. So, embracing the concept of ease in every part of your life. embracing the concept of joy. How would it have felt today if you had experienced joy for 90% of the day, 100% of the day? So it's a wonderful thing when you do bring in an energy exercise that you really help it with your consciousness as well. The energy exercises are an amazing bridge. You can think of them as linking your subconscious and your conscious. And so when you bring in active conscious thought as well, you enable the balance, the alignment, the equilibrium in your system to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, that's not to say maybe you're sitting on a bus, you are thinking about what you need to do when you get to work, and you're holding your thumb in this way. That's still going to be working, still going to be balancing. It's simply that when you take your conscious awareness there, it becomes even deeper. All right, so that's one exercise which I totally love, and I just call that wrapping the thumbs. Yeah, you're just literally wrapping them up. And the other one is working with the end point of the spleen meridian. Now, the meridian is just a channel of energy, and this is a channel of energy that really relates to the amazing spleen organ that you have in your body, the amazing nourisher of your blood. It's got a lot to do with your immune system. Your spleen as an organ is a really sacred and powerful part of your body. So the spleen meridian ends, and we're going to find it together. So you're going to take your hand and you're going to pop it kind of low down in the armpit. You're not going to come up really high, just pop it so that the top of your hand is touching the bottom of your armpit. And from there, you're going to bring your hand to just below that. So I'm sitting about here on me. I'm not sure how many ribs that is down, but it's an easy way for you to take it just by putting your thumb underneath your hands and then bringing. So I'm kind of towards the bottom part of my pectoral area. So what we want to do is hold both sides of this spleen point at the same time. And for some of you, you're going to come like this. Okay, so you're just going to simply come and place, and I'm right in the side seam of the body. It's not so easy to tell on this great big baggy top, but right as if you were wearing a tight t-shirt, it would be where the seam of that is. So you can either place 2 fingers and a thumb together, or bunch all of your fingers, or if it feels really good for some people, it's more about the pads of the fingers. All right, so you're going to play with any of those, which feels best. So that's accessible for some of you, or you can simply cross your arms over. So if you are big-breasted, big-chested, you might not be able to cross over like this, in which case do this. It's no difference. This one for me feels really nurturing, very stable, very grounding, and it's very easy to do. Now, I would say that I do this exercise, well, at least once a day. Normally it's one of the first things I'll do when I wake up. Before I'm even really awake, I'll come to these points and just hold them. If I feel like my energy is depleting during the day, same thing, I wrap straight up. These points in the traditional Chinese medicine, they're called the great wrapping, or the great low points. And they wrap the body system. That's where that big nurturing energy comes into play. It literally begins to spiral and wrap everything about your system in nourishment. Let's do it together again. So, tucking into those points. Just take a lovely full breath in. You can close your eyes if you're comfortable to do so. Don't hold your body up here, yeah? Just let it relax. Doesn't matter where you are, whether you're sitting or lying or feet up on the sofa. Just allow your muscles to rest. We can so often hold ourselves in all kind of positions, and it brings a lot of tension into the musculature. So just hands on these points, and I feel the spiraling in my body begin to start right now. as all of that beautiful, nourishing energy begins to wrap through me, around me, part of me. This is also a beautiful one to do if you don't sleep very well, even just to lie in bed. To do this a few times during the day as well. It creates a lot of space in your energy field. And when there's space, then your energy does what it's supposed to do. Yeah? Remember, at all times, your system knows how to be healthy. It knows how to hold vitality, knows how to hold joy. So often all we have to do is give the body system space, and wow, everything begins to slot in as it needs to. The irony, of course, is that when we're feeling under pressure, when we're feeling like things are closing in on us, then it's the very last thing we think of. We're already in that kind of place of just getting through the day. And actually, if we can just stop and really deeply nurture and nourish, it can really bring some great movement in. All right, and there's one more I want to show you at this point. You can keep one hand on that end point of the spleen meridian, and with the other hand, you're going to bring it right into the center of the sternum. And same thing, you could hold 2 fingers and a thumb, you could hold all of your fingers together, or you could bunch all of your fingertips in. That one feels really good to me. So this one really activates. Stay there while we're doing it. I'm just going to talk so I can see you like this. This one really activates the heart system as well as that beautiful nourishing spleen system. So they begin to weave together in a really profound way that goes right down into that energetic core. Amazing, amazing way to restore. This would be my go-to exercise for anything emotional. Any time when I'm recognizing that, you know what, I'm not really feeling that radiance right now. I'm not really connecting to it. If things are beginning to irritate me, this is an exercise I go to, because it just means that the radiant system in my body has moved away from the daily experiencing. So it's like just a case of reconnecting. But if you find that you're having a day when joy doesn't feel particularly accessible, if instead of joy and ease, you're feeling stress, fear, anxiety, anger, or just disconnection, sometimes it can simply be, kind of a disheartenment with your own day, with your own life. That exercise of fingers in the middle of the sternum, fingers at the end of the spleen meridian. You can do both sides if you wish, or you can just do one. Feels great to do. All right, let's see if there are any questions that you guys are bringing in. All right. Yeah, so Joan, you've got a really, really profound question here. You say you have a good life, you practice gratitude, but you don't really feel joy. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard exactly that in my clinical practice and in my teaching. And I really respect that you even write that, Joan, because, it's John. Sorry, I'm saying Joan. John. So I really respect that, because often there's a disconnect from that place of joy that can mean that the courage to really live your life isn't being supported. So when you can't access joy, a lot of that is to do with that place of connection from the heart system into the rest of your energy system. So that exercise that I just showed you, this radiant spleen exercise, so middle of the heart and the end of the spleen meridian, is brilliant for beginning to really connect those two together. And also, John, what I would advise is that you really notice when you do feel joy and what created that experience for you. Really notice it, paying attention to the tiny joys. And for me, they can start with the minute I'm aware I'm awake. Just the little joys. I hear my dog walking around and I connect into that joy of her existence. I walk down the stairs and I see a certain light shining through the window, and wow, it catches my attention, and I experience the joy of that vibration at that time. So I can have days when there aren't the big joys. It's not like a wow, but if there are enough of those noticing of beauty, for me, I put the definition of joy and beauty. What I find beautiful gives me joy. What you find beautiful will give you joy. And that might not be quite the right word for you, that word of beauty, but begin to really think about it. Notice the tiny, tiny joys that you experience through your day. And what I hope for you, John, is that gradually, as you notice them, you'll notice more and more and more of them, until actually it feels like there is a current, a thread of joy that is continuous for you. All right, so we've got, let's have a look. For Julia, you said that the last exercise made you want to cry. Absolutely, it can be really really beautiful when you connect the heart system in. And that great wrapping, I mean, it really is like the mother meridian in your system, yeah? It's like that amazing nurture, the place where you have been most loved by yourself. And very often in the daytime, we don't always connect to how beloved we are of ourselves. So maybe that's a reason. Maybe there's other reasons, but yeah, my advice for any energy exercise that really produces that sort of welling of emotion is do it more. Do it more so that emotion can flow and can flow into balance. All right, what other questions we have here? Alison, I'm not seeing any other questions in the feed right now, so maybe there are more. Give me as many as we've got. What else do I want to say? Oh, good. Sometimes this half hour goes so quickly that I feel I've hardly said anything, but I feel like I'm getting across what I want to say here. All right. Caroline, you are asking a great question. Is it okay to do some of these exercises at the same time as lying down with your legs up against the wall, which is an amazing exercise, or should you keep them separate? Not at all. You can definitely, I mean, one of the things I'd always say about energy exercises is tune into them when you're doing them. Do them consciously, yeah? So when you do that, then maybe you notice that you're lying down, you're relaxing, you've got your legs up on the sofa or the bed or the wall, and just that feels complete. That you're not having to think about anything else, you're not having to do anything else. You're really allowing your body to deeply, deeply rest. So then maybe you try and you come to the end points of the Spleen Meridian in that great wrapping exercise. And maybe now you think, oh, I'm not very comfy anymore. Well, the second that comfort is gone, then one of those two exercises is stopping the other from being complete. So dump it at that point. It was a great experiment. It didn't work for you. Maybe you come into the radiant spleen exercise, or you wrap your thumb and you think, oh, that's even better. So always simply tune in to what you're doing. You will know, your body system knows. If you get an immediate, oh, that doesn't feel good, oh, but Prune said we should do it, then you're not trusting yourself. And that is the only person to trust when it comes to your energy. So at that point, take your thumb off and just relax back into what you were doing. All right, great. Let's have a look. Heather, you're asking if I recommend any exercises to use to help with self-love. Yeah, I would say every single one that we've just been talking about, because all of them work to nurture your system. And the very act of nurturing is a loving act. So there begins to be this threading between your energy systems of compassion and love. So I'd really work with both of those. Let me see if there's anything else. Well, actually, I know I've shown this so many times, but it's such a key exercise, would be the heart hug. So literally having your fingers in your armpits, your thumbs on your chest, just wherever they fall. And if you're working with the concept of self-love, then as you're holding this heart hug, maybe just allow movement to come into your body system. You can ask yourself, if I was to sway a little while I do this, how does it feel most natural for me to sway? So for me today, it's just moving slightly from left to right. So moving in this beautiful heart hug begins to connect your fight, flight, freeze, your big defensive systems, which have a heart component to them. It begins to connect them with the rhythm of your body, the rhythm of the compassionate heart, the wise heart. So instead of the kind of heart protector coming in as part of that fight, flight, freeze, instead you've got the wisdom of the heart that begins to move through your energy system. So at that point, the movement between not being able to access self-love and the natural flowing of compassion and connection. Those are different words. Self-love is such a big word, isn't it? But when we can talk about compassion, connection to yourself, exploration of yourself, then at that point your energy system can begin to expand much more with that. And I'd encourage you, you can explore, how would it feel like to love myself? What would that even mean? If I loved myself today, how would my day be different? Begin to be curious about it. No judgment, no blame, no box, I should love myself. Yeah, none of those things are going to enhance space in your energy. But curiosity, wonder, inquiry, they'll always create space. And remember, once there's space, there's healing. All right. Christine, can I reconfirm that anxiety can be relieved through grounding and using the techniques you've just mentioned? Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually there's a few of these live webinars on Facebook and on YouTube in which I go into much more detail about anxiety. So if that's something that you're really working to balance in your system, then go and look at them, because I've got specific exercises in there. But absolutely, the more your energy system is in its natural flow, which is electromagnetically grounded, the more your system is there, then that constant looping of anxiety gets restored back into its healthy pattern of flow. So instead of the anxiety just literally looping over and over and over, what happens energetically is that you come into your beautiful constant flow, and at that point the need for that loop dissolves in the system. So grounding is incredibly important. And I've seen people who work with quite high levels of anxiety find they dissolve completely simply by paying beautiful attention to whether their body is electromagnetically grounded and in its flow. All right, let's have a look. Ria, you're asking, does the order of energy exercises matter? Not at all. Not at all. If you're doing something that someone has created as a sequence, then in that situation, follow their sequence, because there'll be a logic and an understanding of the way that a foundational piece has to come in before the next piece, before the next piece. But unless it's a real set protocol almost like that, then no, there's no need for you to do, let's say in the example that I've just shared, 3 or 4 different exercises with you, you might find that 2 you do a few times and you think, you know what, I don't think that does anything for me at the moment. Brilliant. Keep them in your back pocket and pull them out at times. But maybe another 1 or 2 you think, oh, I really felt that. So that means that's going to be one that you use much more often. So no set flow in how you have to do it, when you have to do it, or what order you have to do it. You're going to explore it. I always love you to think about these exercises that I share with you as foundational pieces for you to explore. Yeah? Don't put them in a box. Energy doesn't live in a box. The minute it does, it's in a state of stagnancy, which will lead towards its decay. So everything has to continue to move, including the order that you do your exercises in. All right, I think let's take one more question. I've got a couple of great questions here I want to cover. So Diana, you're asking about any suggestions on how to stay in balance when the extremes of the heat of summer deplete my energy. So the first thing I'm going to say is that it would be a great idea for you to take the Summer Energetics course. It's just in the process of wrapping up now, but it stays active on my website as a course for several more weeks. And that we really talk about how to balance there. But for a very quick understanding, there is let's have a look. There's an exercise on my YouTube channel called Bringing Down the Flame. That's a great one for when heat is a bit much, but also stay really grounded. Yeah, stay grounded so your body can get rid of that heat. If you're a closed circuit, there's nowhere for that heat to go than in yourself. Yeah, and then that gets horrible, hot, panicky, and that creates more internal heat. So grounded, being in your flow. All right, Sin Bob, you are asking a very, do I recommend any specific exercises to help children cope with waves of frustration, rage, anguish, powerlessness? Your daughter is 7. Her fuse has become minuscule over the last few months. Yeah, it's really intense energy around at the moment. Societally, it's being reflected societally by the cosmic energy that's all around us. And absolutely, that sensitivity is really huge at the moment, and especially in children. If you think always about space, yeah, so when a young person or an older person has a really short fuse and it keeps exploding, it's because there isn't enough space. So everything's come down into protection, and then it has to explode to try and rebalance. Yeah, it's not out of a flaw in the system. It's that there's the need to rebalance, the need to create space. But obviously, if you're 7 years old, then that's a really difficult thing to understand or managing. If you're 70 years old, it can be difficult. So some simple exercises on my YouTube channel. There is an exercise called the core connector. There's quite a few that I think would really begin to, again, think of Sinbob for your daughter. Think about just grounding the system in space. There's another exercise called Wings of Strength. I think for her that might be a really key one. It brings the field in close and then it expands it out, but it holds it really strongly protected. Children at the moment, they're being bombarded with a lot of energy, which is seeking balance, but as a society, we're not quite able to hold it at the moment. Out of all of that, I'm creating a course right now. We've been in meetings all day about a course to really help parents of these amazing children that are around right now, these real high sensitives. And of course, being sensitive to energy as a child can lead to all kinds of labels. Yeah, you know, the kind of explosiveness, the kids that can't work with the education system in its traditional form, that are really so sensitive that parenting them is like, you know, a daily juggling act. So that course will be ready in middle of September, but just think, Sinbob, about kind of all the time grounding, giving her the ability to ground, sharing the exercises with her to ground, and allowing that space. All right, one last question and then we will finish. So Margot, you're asking, should one limit how much energy work you do if you have chronic fatigue, or can you do as much during a day as you're able to do? Great question. And I would expand it to say this isn't just if you've got chronic fatigue, this is if you've got any ailment that you're working with, any chronic situation that you're working with, any chronic stress, yeah? So let's broaden it more. Only do as much energy work as your body can assimilate. Now, when I was working in clinical practice, I would have sessions that sometimes would last 7-10 minutes max, because that was as much as that beautiful individual's energy system could actually take in and absorb. Anything more than that would begin to ask too much. The movement would be too great. Often when you're working with chronic illnesses, you are incredibly sensitive. You are definitely sensitive and probably an empath, which is why your system has moved into that place of just not quite managing to hold its equilibrium. So always ask yourself the question, how much can my energy field really absorb? And it's a difficult question to answer. You tend to learn through getting it wrong. Yeah, you tend to learn by thinking, oh, that was too much. But then pay attention to it. And the next time you do any of your energy exercises, do less. Notice afterwards, do I feel better than when I started? That's the key, yeah? If doing some kind of energy work doesn't enhance where you started, then you've done too much, or you haven't done the right thing. Yeah. If it's just neutral, it simply means that the exercise that you did, your body system couldn't take in. But if you feel tired or depleted afterwards, or you feel like, oh, that was really hard, I need to rest, then my suggestion is that at that time, that's a bit too much. Back it down a bit. Instead of doing 20 minutes, maybe do 7 or 8. See how you feel afterwards. So we don't have to do a lot of energy work. My advice much more is do very little, but very often. Do one exercise an hour, or one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Just check in. Why are you doing it? Which is the best exercise for this moment? And then do it. So I hope that's an answer, Margot, as far as just come to these energy exercises as a form of alignment, a form of play to continue to nurture you. And when you come to them with that spirit, wow, they nurture you amazingly. Okay, so we've gone a little bit over, but I'm so grateful for your great questions and your comments and this time together so that we can share it. So important at this time of year. I really hope to be able to be with you in other times. Next Tuesday, it's Tuesday today, isn't it? So next Tuesday, I'm going to be teaching a class all about the pressure valves in the body, and I am super excited for that. I feel, in a way, I've been waiting to teach the class. It's going to be an introductory class and then an advanced class the week after, and I'm excited to share that. Maybe I'll get to share that with you, as there's a lot of information on my website. All right, much love. I hope that your spleen energy is beautifully nourished over these next few weeks so that you can move into the autumn feeling brilliant. Bye-bye.